California is coming out of, at least according to what we're seeing in the rain and the snowpack, a historic drought situation here in California. About this drought, what are your thoughts, and what should California be doing more to make sure that they don't suffer from it again?
You know, Lou, I know you had a little tilt in your voice when you said historic, because this has been going on in four years now. You know, in the 800s, before we were driving, there was over a 200-year drought that had started. That's historic. Why do they call this historic? Because this is a man-made water crisis. It's government that has messed this up. But you know what? This can be solved really quite easily. So let's think about it. Their policies are geared toward residential users, who by all estimates use about 14% of the water in this state. But you know who uses or actually wastes more than that? Even the EPA says about 16% of the water that is used is wasted in municipal pipes, old municipal pipes, like that UCLA pipe that broke in 2014 and 20 million gallons of water escaped. That was a 94-year-old pipe. Now, why isn't our government requiring the municipalities to replace those pipes? After all, those are shovel-ready jobs. You literally need a shovel to dig up pipes. So what can we do to deal with this situation? We need a comprehensive plan for the entire state to bring more water. The environmental left doesn't want that. That's wrong. So here are some proposals that are rather simple and will have a far greater effect on us saving 36% on residential use or driving the number from 14 to around 10 or 11%. Number one, we should have a comprehensive plan statewide for municipalities to repair those leaking pipes. Even if government's only half effective, that's about 8%. That's double what the residents could do for themselves. There's no excuse for those municipal pipes not to be fixed. Number two, the forests are a gold mine for water for us. Today, the federal government restricts us from doing healthy forest practices. And as a result, we have wildfires far greater than they should be and far more dangerous. You know what we could do there? We could follow the lead of many experts who say that we need thinner forests, will get healthier trees, an enormous additional runoff, and less fire danger. And that additional runoff could help feed the Central Valley, according to a lot of experts. So number two, we should practice healthy forest practices and allow that additional runoff. Number three, 70% of Californians live within where? 30 miles of the ocean. That's where desalination comes into play. We should have additional desalination plants. Number four, we need to increase catchment. That's an international phrase that indicates that when water falls, for instance, in the city or on the freeways, that the water is caught and pumped out for recycling. We don't do this in America. You know, in the summer of 1986, I went to law school in Singapore. And Singapore has become water self-sufficient, or at least is on the path to do so in the near future, even though they're surrounded by salt water. How do they do it? Catchment, additional reservoirs, and recycling, which of course brings us to our next point. We need those additional reservoirs. They should not only be built in Northern California, for instance, the sites plan in the Sacramento River Valley, but we also need them dotted throughout the state because you know what? The rain doesn't always fall in the north. And then, of course, recycling. We need to use recycled water far greater in this state. No median in any city in California should be watered with water that comes from the sky or our reservoirs. That should all be recycled. We need not a one-size-fits-all, but a policy across the state. We could solve this crisis with 2 or 3 of those alone. But you know who's in the way? Our government's in the way. It wants to blame consumers. This is an outrage. California is number 1 in the country in poverty. That's due to a lack of jobs, and a huge percent of that is in the Central Valley. Why should the Central Valley, which has led the country in helping eradicate famine around the world, have the number one poverty rate in America today. We can solve this water crisis. It takes leadership and it takes a statewide plan, and I intend to offer that.